Hi there everybody, and welcome to another video. On today's video I have this Volvo XC60. This is a 2019 model. It's a 2-liter petrol T5. So this is a T5 and all-wheel drive. I'm going to be changing the oil and the oil filter. So to start with, just have a quick look at the manual here to see how much oil this car takes. And I'm pretty sure I had the page, but I was looking at the jacking points. Right, so here we are. I have the T5 here and it takes 5.6 liters. So basically all of these models, the T4, T5, T6, they all take 5.6 liters. The diesel versions of this car, they take 5.2, and then there's two here that take 5.6. The B4 and the B5. So the other ones are these. So anyway, we're concentrating on the petrol ones. As I said, this is a 2-liter one, takes 5.6, and it is recommended to use Castrol Edge Professional V0W20 or VCC 0W20, and the one I've got, it's this one here, 0W20. So I've got my 5.6 liters ready, and also I have this oil filter here that I'm going to be using, P7152. So I'm gonna say, like I say in all my videos, don't just go ahead and buy one exactly like this. If you have the diesel version or slightly different engine, the filter might be slightly different. So this is specific for this one. So just make sure you get the correct one for your car. Usually you can use your chassis number or your registration plate to get the correct one. And most likely it is going to be this one, but I'm just saying just in case. Now, so I'm going to start by opening this oil filler cap here. So just anti-clockwise open it, and I'm going to leave it there just sitting on top of that to allow some air into the system while we drain the oil from underneath and we tackle the filter. So and now I'm going to jack the car up and drain the oil. So looking at the car from underneath, you're going to find this cover sitting there, and I just started removing the screws that hold this cover. So this is these Torx screws. There's around 10 of them, and they are a size of T30. So I've got about 8 of them out, so I've got 1 and 2 more to remove, and then this little cover comes out. So with the cover off, we have the oil filter housing is just here, and we also have the sun plug bolt here. So I've got a 17mm socket to open that there, and make sure you have an oil pan to catch the oil. And then we can crack that open, which shouldn't really be too tight. And another thing is, if the car's been running a lot, the oil can be very hot and you don't want to burn yourself. So just be careful when opening this. You can always wait for the car to cool down a bit. In this case, I warmed up the car a little bit, not really a lot, just to make the oil a bit easier to flow out when it's a little bit warm. So it's gonna be 5.6 liters that come out of there, and then we can also, with an Allen key, an Allen size 6, we're gonna open this little drain plug here drain the oil, and then we can take the filter out. Okay, so now I'm going to open this one here. It's not going to be tight at all. And make sure your oil pan is sitting underneath as well, because some oil will come out. Right, let's get this open. That's it. Now we're going to wait for it to drain. So while that is draining, in your oil filter kit, you're going to find 2 O-rings, one big O-ring and one little O-ring. This little O-ring we're going to replace in the little bolt that came out. The little drain sort of 6mm Allen plug that came out of the filter. So I'm going to change that O-ring now. It's obviously just a matter of picking it out. I'm just going to use a pick like this and take it out and change it. I've replaced it. That's the old one, that's the new one. And I put a little bit of multi-purpose grease around this new... Why is my camera not focusing? Well, anyway, this has stopped draining now, so I can fit this back. Now notice that somebody on a previous service marked this with a bit of T-pegs, so that really helps us more or less tighten this to the correct pressure. So because this little bolt is not going to be tightened too much, too hard. You can see I almost got it there by hand, and now it needs to line up the little T-pegs there. It just needs a little bit extra. It's actually, I think it's actually written here how much you can torque that, and the actual housing, it gets also, it says 25 Newton meters there. So anyway, I'm going to close that to that line, which is tiny little force that I need from my ratchet now, and then clean that bit. So I clean the area, get my socket there and tighten that. I can carry on tightening this very easy, so, but it can easily be damaged. And I'm pretty sure it says something of the tightening torque just there, but I can't see it. Well, we're gonna remove this now anyway. Okay, so I'm using one of these. This is a big socket type of tool for oil filters. Now this particular one I'm using is an S80, but it is a little bit too big for this one. I'll show you the size in a minute, but it is a little bit too big. This size normally I use on this particular one is for BMWs. So it just happens that I don't have the right one at the minute. So now we can take this out. There's our filter, still some oil in here. So I'm just going to put this to one side and wait for it to drain a bit more. While my oil is draining, I just wanted to show you this. It says S40, S80. And in there it says 8616. But like I said, this is a little bit too big. So you need a slightly smaller one for this housing. But I haven't got one at the minute, which is why I can't really show you. But I'm pretty sure that if you type on Google Volvo XC60 oil filter housing socket, you will get many options coming up, but you should get the correct size, coming up, so it might be slightly smaller than this. So you have this, you can use this as a reference, but it should be a little bit smaller, maybe the 85 or so. But you will need one of those to remove that. So if you type in Google Volvo oil filter wrench 2 liter for XC60, you are gonna get a lot of different results. Make sure you type in the year 2019, and then obviously you can look at the different sizes that are recommended in here. Well, in this particular one, I found this one for the 2 liter engine XC60, but you can look, there's another one there. It says oil filter wrench 2014 onwards, because some of these, like the ones that come up here, there will be for different years, so they might not fit. So just make sure you check properly the year and model of your car when you search. So here I have the housing. This is the O-ring we're going to be changing right here. I've already sort of removed it a little bit, and the filter, you need to pull it out. So I've already sort of pulled it out a bit. It's going to be plugged in there. You want to obviously pull it out, unplug it from the bottom, and get it out. So I did it before because I needed my 2 hands to sort of pull it out. And then actually before I put that in, we want to take obviously this O-ring out with the old, in with the new kind of thing. So there we are. Get that out and get your new one around the groove there. So I'm gonna do that in a minute. And also you're gonna need a washer. This is like an aluminium washer. You can get a copper washer or whatever to replace the old one, and you can fit that on your sun plug bolt. If you haven't got a new one, just inspect the old one. Make sure it's not damaged, because obviously they get a little bit squashed, and sometimes they can get damaged. And if they are damaged and you reuse it, it will let a bit of oil out, so it will start leaking oil out of this area. It might not be much, but obviously next time you service the car, you may notice that it has been leaking. So, but usually, I mean, I have reused this in the past in different cars, and I never really had an issue. But obviously sometimes they are a bit damaged and they can cause an issue. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and fit this back in there, and then we can plug in our filter. Okay, got the new O-ring in there, and I put a bit of multi-purpose grease around it as well, and we can push our new filter in there. Make sure it's sitting in there nicely. And now we can have a look at the back here. I've already did actually, and what it says there, it says 4.1 Newton meters. So for this bolt here, it says 4.1 Newton meters. So that is very, very little force to close that. And then it says here 25 Newton meters plus 25.5 or so. So again, not a lot of force. And now we are ready to refit this actually. So I always like to fit this a little bit by hand. Make sure it's going in the correct sense, and then it's gonna get a bit hard once it reaches obviously the O-ring, and then you can use your ratchet. And before I use my ratchet, I'm just gonna rinse this here, rinse the area clean, make sure it's nice and clean from oil. And I'm using some brake fluid cleaner. Well, not brake fluid, but brake cleaner, which we use for cleaning the dust of the brakes and that kind of thing. is quite good and great for rinsing oil. So now I'm going to use my oversized socket here to tighten this back. Saying that, it's not really that much bigger. It feels like it's really big, but it's not really big. Sorry, it feels like it's got some play, but it's not terrible. So it might actually be the correct size. I'm just a bit unsure because it feels a little bit big to me. But I did find when I googled it, I did find that they show this socket, and also because I said it's also it's used for BMW. So okay, there we are. So, but it might actually be the correct size. So anyway, that is done, and now we can also fit our sun plug bolt. And again, this one was also marked with a bit of T-Pex before removing the last time, so when it gets tightened, you can see the little white there. I can close it to that point, so that way it doesn't get over tightened. It's pretty much something like 30 or 35 Newton meters for this sun plug bolts. It's not really that much more. So we want to make sure the area is nice and clean, and that way when we come back to it next year, you will know if you had a leak or so. Okay, so let's close that there. And that's it. So now I'm going to put the cover back in here and then lower the car and put some oil. So we are ready to top up some oil. I've got a little funnel there, and we can start pouring the oil in there. So obviously this part you don't need to see me pouring in 5 liters of oil, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And well, I'm gonna put the 5.6 in. Okay, got my 5.6 in there. Now it's just a matter of putting this cap back on, close it nicely, just wipe anything that may have dripped somewhere, and we can then get the car started. Make sure everything is running well and smoothly. Okay, that noise might be because the bonnet is open, the door is open, but engine sounds nice, and this is there's no any oil warning lights or anything like that, so I'm happy with that. Just gonna switch the car off now because it's, and then you can obviously just you could check underneath quickly, make sure there's no leaks or anything like that underneath. But apart from that, we're pretty much done here. So having said that, I hope the video helps. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. So thank you for watching.